So being in the workforce for the last 10 years has taught me a lot of things, but a lot of things I've noticed too is that there's a lot of people who find the workforce to be a competition. I find that shit kind of weird. Like, this did not happen a lot with my retail jobs, but this happened a lot more with more of the warehouse jobs. Like, there were some people I noticed that were competing, to get more money, which is fair. But there were some people I've noticed too outside of the warehouse jobs and other jobs like, trades and stuff. They were competing, being like, I make more money than you, so therefore I'm better than you. And I don't really understand this because, yes, I get it. We have this little rat race for some people that they call it, but not everyone wants to participate in it. But I don't know, like for me, I just feel like, I'd rather rack like a shitload of money, pursue something I like doing, and boom, just be able to do that instead of just trying to rack as much money as possible. Because in the long run, dude, I just want the freedom of just be able to live my life, not having to worry about other shit. But this is just kind of ridiculous how people want to one up others just because of how much money they make. Like, you find this crap everywhere. Like, it's really irritating too because there's some people who always say, oh, I got so much money, I got so much this, but in reality they don't got shit, which I also cannot stand either. But that's for another day, for another video. But it's like, man, it's okay to not have like a fucking $1 million, alright? Like, everyone is chasing all this bag and stuff to the point where they just lose their livelihoods and they lose their soul for it. Like, I'm willing to admit too that I really love my buddy, right? Like, one of my best friends that has like 100K saved by working his ass off, and he's about to buy a house, which I'm extremely proud of him for. But even he did admit that like he had to work like 7 days a week all the time at his trade job just to be able to achieve that pretty quickly at his age, which is fair. But he says he wants to keep going. But the thing is, you have to basically sacrifice everything else just to be able to get that type of money for that type of work that he's doing, and it's crazy. And another thing too that happened to him was his boss tried to call him in on Memorial Day while he was with me while we were bowling. And he also, like, fought with them through his union, and he actually got his boss fired, which is kind of cool because unions like that are pretty important and they're good if they're done right, because some unions suck, but this one he had was pretty good. There was also another person that was more like a stranger, an acquaintance to me, that was also bragging about, like, how much, like, he was going to buy and everything with all this income he's earning. And I'm just, like, asking this dude, why don't you just save some of it, man? Like, yes, you can buy a bunch of nice shit, but at the same time, you're putting yourself in crazy debt just to buy yourself like a nice ass truck is just not the way they go if you have a lot of money. I feel like, if you just saved a little bit more, and not having to do all this crazy materialistic shit, I feel like your life would be a little bit better. But that was just my honest take. And the guy just looked at me kind of weird. It's like, yeah, man, you just want a mediocre life. It's like, no, I just don't really care that much about materialistic things because I don't find materialism like the way to make me really happy. I don't know how people like do it, but I do feel like a lot of people buy materialistic things just to cope with their situation, and I don't find that a good strategy either. Like, I can remember when I was young as a kid, like, I do remember wanting a lot of nice stuff, but and mainly involving with like YouTube related shit, actually. I remember wanting, like, this AverMedia Game Capture Now HD camera that I got for my PlayStation 3. It's actually one thing I did want as a kid, but I remember wanting a lot of like stuff involving just recording either gaming videos or just type of videos related to YouTube in some way because I was a fucking obsessed person over it, and my parents were looking at me like, why are you so obsessed with YouTube? It's like, bro, it's like what I like doing, it was fucking cool. I always had this dream, and it's here now. But it was just looking back, it's just all that materialistic shit as a kid I could understand, but eventually you will grow out of it very quickly. I remember around like 2015, around my senior year of high school, like I didn't even have like the newest smartphone and all that anymore. I just stopped caring about all that. I had like an old Galaxy S3, and at the time I was pretty happy with it. And I was actually modding it a little bit, putting ROMs on it. And unfortunately, I bricked the fuck out of it, But it was a hard lesson learned. But ever since then, about 10 years ago, I stopped getting the newest phones and stuff, and I find it a lot better mentally and a lot easier for me to handle financially because I could never understand people making a fucking phone payment just for a brand new phone. Like, if you can't afford a $900 phone, man, and you have to make constant payments for it, you probably shouldn't get your new phone, honestly, unless you're trying to build credit. And the last thing I want to say about phones too is I gotta say, budget phones have come a long way. Like, they used to really suck in like 2010, like the Galaxy, like the Gravity Touch, I'm sorry, not the Galaxy, Gravity Touch. Remember that thing where it has like a really shitty touch screen, had like a QWERTY keyboard, and that was like the newest thing, right? I remember I had one of those that was hand-me-down, and I thought it was cool, but actually that touch screen was low-key or high-key trash. It really sucked, even for its time. I remember it not being very good. But yeah, if you look into like a mid-tier smartphone, you can get one for around like the $300 to $500 range, it's actually not too bad. Like they run pretty fast now, and they do get everything that I need to do to get done. The only thing you might sacrifice is maybe not as good of a camera, but I have an actual DSLR, so why the fuck would I need a good camera anyways? It would be convenient, but for me it's just not necessary. Another weird thing that happened at my warehouse job too was like there were some people who were competing about like how like blue collar they would look, like, which is kind of fucking weird, right? Like there's some people who like were serious about looking the most blue collar and hardworking looking person because they fucking believed if they looked the most hardworking person in their part that they wouldn't have to do as much at times, or they would have to, you know, be promoted easier or whatnot. And I find that shit fucking horrible. Like, nah, dude, like, just do the goddamn work, but don't, like, slave yourself, you know? Like, go at a steady pace, because I realize at my current job now, I've been going at a steady pace, not going super fast, right? Like, just going at a decent, steady pace just to keep the time going, because I realize if you're patient with it a little bit and you're just steady and focused, the time goes by fast, right? So that's what I do, and actually, I went above and beyond unexpectedly with the scan rates, because all I'm doing right now is just scanning boxes, throwing them into carts. Don't mind doing it because I like the pace, and it's kind of crazy that the coworkers and my actual like boss looked up to me and was like, "You're doing a pretty good job, bro. For the first couple of days, it's really good." I'm like, "Damn!" In my back of my mind, I was like, "I wasn't even trying that hard, but you know, fuck it, that's awesome." I guess you could say at my job, they're just so used to people not doing a lot of shit, so I guess it's fair. Same with my old job too. When I left McDonald's, everyone did not want me to leave because I actually did my job apparently, unlike the high school. Which is fucking funny, but of course they didn't appreciate me enough or treat me that great, and especially when it came to my day off. So I was like, nah, I'm not staying. Like, I will say, so far this fulfillment center I work at, it is definitely better than the last one I worked at. It does really depend on which one you work at, I've noticed. Like, it's not perfect, but it definitely is a million times more laid back, and I do appreciate that. And they're not really weird about breaks, because my old one was so weird about breaks that they would purposely, like, hold breaks over our heads and never tell us the time, and they would always change, which I find very toxic and very weird. Another weird thing that some people will also try to do at work, and it's not even all about the money at this point, it's all about like trying to pull like how many coworkers that they could pull, like when it comes to chicks, which is fucking like, what? Like, I knew a guy that would literally compete with other coworkers on trying to get the same girl, right? There was like a girl that a lot of people were floundering over for some reason, and there was legit people competing over this type of shit to try to get the same woman. I'm like, why do you want that, dude? Like, she was literally, obviously, like, using all of them as pawns for gifts and shit. Because that's why I saw that was going on the sidelines. I'm just, like, shaking my head, laughing, like, bro, they're all gonna get fucked over in one way or another. Like, it kind of reminds me of the Seventh Saw movie, where the girl was was dating two guys in a trap, telling them both they loved them and try to fight each other. But in reality, they just kind of, you know, team up and, like, you know, kill her. Like, it's what it kind of reminds me of a little bit. Like, a bunch of dudes competing over the same chick, but at the workplace. And they were even telling me, like, they were trying to tell this chick, like, they make more money than this other person and shit. Just like, what the hell? Like, this did not happen at this current warehouse, but this happened at the last one I worked at. And I'm just like, wow, man. All of that for just a fucking girl's attention. That's fucking crazy. Like, I don't get it. Like, for me, if I see that, like, multiple people are going after the same person, right? Like, I'm just fucking dipping, you know? Like, I'm done. Like, if I see any type of competition, dude, nah, dude, they could have that shit. That ain't for me, bro. Fuck that. There's way more fish in the sea than that. And the last thing I do want to say about the workforces before I go is that, work at your own steady pace, like full-time. Like, at least be full-time, but, you know, work steady, because everyone's life is a little bit different, you know? Just because someone's got some nice shit does not always mean everything, you know? Because, you know, it's funny. There's some people that will have nice things, but then they won't tell you how much debt you secretly have, or they secretly have, you know? They'll act like they've got it all paid off. I never understood those people who posted on Facebook, like, getting a brand new car when they're, like, secretly in, like, $20,000 or more in debt. Like, I get it's a nice car, but nah, dude. Like, looking back, like, it's all, like, a fucking illusion. So be careful when it comes to keeping up with the Jones, because, honestly, don't even do it, but there's some people who do. If you're going to keep up with the Jones, bro, it better would be someone that's actually real about their shit and not someone that's always in the debt, you know? Anyways, everybody, that's all I gotta say for today's video. What's your guys' thoughts about like the workforce when it comes to competition? Do you guys have any weird competition that goes on in the workforce? Let me know in the comment section below, because I'm not gonna lie, some of these jobs I've worked at, especially the ones in the past, some of these jobs can be a little cult-like, and it's kind of scary, you know? Like, it's like their whole, I guess you could say purpose and identity, but it's more like a whole, like, fucking shtick. It's like a weird, like, anonymous group within a job. Anyways, everybody, I'll see y'all in the next video, so peace out.